I'm so glad you're doing this with me. We are at this time of day where the sunbeam lands on my head. I freaking love it. So, we are doing You Are the Magic. I'm so glad you have downloaded it. We are going to work through this together. And we're going to go slow. It's like the journey of creative dreaming is full of spiritual paradoxes, right? So, one of the places where we really slow ourselves down is by trying to go too fast. So, if you're trying to like if you want to read this whole thing all at once and like do all the questions, the enthusiasm is fantastic and I love it. And we want to slow down and give yourself some space to let things sink in, because it's not so much about the words I wrote as it is about how they apply to your dreams, how we can shift your inner relationship with your dream. That's the real work here. So we start by acknowledging that this is how most dreams begin, that you look to where you want to be and there's no path. I wanted to just acknowledge this, start here and say, this is how it feels for everyone. If you want bonus points, extra homework here, I would ask you to sit with this for a few days, really notice, how does it feel that your dream feels impossible? Because we have a lot of feelings about a lot of parts of our dreams, and we live in a world that encourages us to pretend we don't have any feelings and to do all sorts of contorting of our inner selves to get away from our feelings when our feelings are a part of us. And giving yourself a little space to mellow into that. So what's going on in my body and my mind as I face the fact that my dream feels impossible? If you could give yourself some space to really sit with that. I mean, you've heard the sayings about how everything you want is on the other side of your fear, and that can feel really trite. And it's so true. I'm sorry to say it, but it's so true, because when this scares us and so we don't sit with that fear, where does that leave the dream? Like, that leaves the dream on the other side of the fear. So if you want to sit with that for a few days, I highly encourage it. The next page, there's these two spirals that are each going like in opposite directions. And so the one spiral is this, it's like the spirals represent energy moving, right? So the dream is impossible, so you don't engage. That's not a stuck place. There's continual energy. You're continually choosing to not engage because the dream is continually stuck, right? And then moving in the other side, you don't engage, and so the dream is impossible. As a continual thing, you're continually not engaging. And I have all the empathy in the world for when you are in the cycle. It doesn't look like this when you're in it. What it looks like is, there's nothing I can do. I don't know what to do. I'd love to do something. Show me what to do. I don't see a step. I see a chasm. I'm gonna flip back. Okay. Right? I just see this and I'm not jumping like that, right? I don't see a step, so I can't take it. And I want to encourage us to really think about, when you're saying, I don't see a step, so I don't take it, this is actually what's happening. There's two opposing energies. And so on this page, I talk about it's so difficult to be caught in this cycle. And it's so easy to believe that something outside of you has to change before you'll have options. And that's where most dreams die. Waiting for something outside to change before you can have some good options in front of you. Waiting is not a step. There's a lot of things you can do with your dream. Waiting is the only thing I encourage you to not do. Which doesn't mean take action. Okay, as we get into this, you're going to see what I mean. There's things you can do that aren't waiting. So, and then of course, this is what I'm saying in the next line here. But there are loads of ways you can engage with your dream right now. It all begins with seeing creative dreaming as a practice instead of a thing to accomplish. And that's what I really want to have you sit with right now is, what if creative dreaming was a practice and not a thing to accomplish? So the next few pages have a little more about what I mean by that. When you're approaching your creative dreams as a thing that you accomplish, or your thing that you're trying to accomplish, you believe you need to know how to do it before you can start, which makes it impossible to do anything. it feels inspiring and exciting, but then it also feels risky, scary, and stressful. There can be a lot of pressure and overwhelm because you have to accomplish, right? So pressure, overwhelm, scary, as well as inspiring, exciting, like woohoo, right? All of that together. And then when you go deeper into it, really thinking about this dream can spark the big fears like, am I good enough? What if I take risks and work hard and do all this stuff and be brave and do it even though I'm scared, and then I only find out that I'm not good enough? And that's another one that people tend to feel alone in, and you are not. Every person I've worked with, I've done this a long time, every person I've worked with has had that in there somewhere. We all worry that we are not worthy of our dreams. And it's not true of anyone, because I actually believe your dream is your soul showing you your path in life. So it's like who you are. So then the next page, I talk about creative dreaming as a practice. So those things I just described, that describes creative dreaming as a thing you're trying to accomplish. Now, if we looked at shifting into creative dreaming as a practice, you have ways to engage with your dream no matter what is happening in your life. No more waiting. You have things you can do. And also, when I say no matter what's happening in your life, I mean, we can break it into small, easy things that nicely fit in your life. You can take little steps even when you can't see the path. So you can actually, like, pretty much every big thing I've accomplished, I have not seen how it would work out in the end. I was taking little steps. I was probably taking a million little steps before I could even be like, oh yeah, this is going to work, right? Like, we need to take those little steps, and you can do that when you're practicing. You can be in the process receiving the medicine and magic of your dream anytime you choose to. That's another one to really, like, let that sink in. I would suggest maybe circle it right now and do some journaling about what would that mean? What would that look like for you? What is that? Because when you think about your dream and you think about having it, and it can feel very healing and special and magical, I think the fact that it feels that way is a sign that this is your soul calling, but that's another topic. But that feeling, how your dream feels special, that is the medicine and magic of your dream and the healing of your dream. And you can receive that anytime you choose to practice your dream, even if you're very far away from accomplishing it. So I'm really trying to get you to think about process versus outcomes too, right? Like, the next one is your dream will help you heal and grow right now before you make any changes in your life. That's very related, right? Nothing in your life needs to change for you to receive the healing and magic of your dream. A practice is magical and restorative. Restorative, this is what we need right now, right? It helps you grow into the version of you who can overcome the obstacles and get to where you want to be. So when I talk about creative dreaming as a practice and not a thing to accomplish, I'm not saying I don't ever want you to have the dream accomplished. I want you to approach your dream as a practice so that it is approachable. So the next page of the book is just, so let's practice our dreams. And I kind of wanted to have a page that was very little just to kind of pause. And I'm going to pause this video here. I want to encourage you to think about all of that. Because there are so many ways that we are wired to look to focus on the external. And so when we think of a dream, we think of it as I have to accomplish it. Often we don't even let ourselves dream about something unless we believe we can have it. That's very limiting. Because then you're limiting your dreams to what your current worldview views as possible. And that's what your current worldview views as possible isn't really relevant to what's actually possible for you. Your dream is asking you to go much deeper into your creative work and your spiritual work and your healing work. And all of that includes facing some very hard feelings. So we really need to slow down. So I've just gone over the first 4 pages of the journal. I would encourage you to like reread those and do lots of journaling about every thought you have about it. Think about how this applies to your dreams. And then we'll be back to look at the next section.